Position driving for PCR. Colin Davis alongside him on the front row, the championship leader. Christoph Adams on the second row alongside Jerome Burkhardt, second in the championship so far. Well, at the back of the grid, just have the 15 starters. Alberto Verdani making his Rotax Euro Challenge debut. So it's all very much a learning situation for him. Claudio Piazzamusso brings the field round. Very, very experienced driver, over 30 years of age. And Claudio Piazzamusso has a career in rally cars in South Africa, as well as karting in a worldwide context. Claudio Piazzamusso, kart number 440. Again, a nice controlled pace on the formation lap. The point of the formation lap is just to get everybody in the position they need to be. They're accelerating now, they're looking for the green lights. And the green lights go, and Claudio Piazzamusso, as you can see, clearly moves into the lead. It was a little bit of a slower start by Colin Davis, but then it's always difficult on the outside of the front row. Claudio leading in front of, I think it was kart number 428, Jerome Burkhardt. May have been wrong on that one, but certainly, and a little bit of nudging towards the middle of the grid. But Claudio Piazzamusso, as we go into turn 2 for the first time in the race, turn 3, turn 4, and Claudio Piazzamusso, 440, has a lead of, well, you tell me, 15-20 lengths. How do you have such a lead so quickly? I think it's the bunching of the drivers immediately behind. But this is a 22-lap race, so a big lead at the halfway point of the first lap is nothing significant, except that you'd rather be there than further back downfield. Here's come the chasing bunch. Colin Davis leading the chasing bunch from Christoph Adams. Christoph Adams is in third place in front of Jerome Burkhardt. Ramon Henning, who I mentioned earlier on as being somebody who's got a new addition to the family. Ramon Henning from Holland. He's been karting for about 5 years, but if he does well in this race, he's going to dedicate it to his newborn son Vince. His son Vince, born this month. Ramon Henning driving in kart number 430, currently running in 5th place. Well, just a little bit surprised that so early in the race there's such a big lead. Claudio Piazzamusso has lapped in 46.22. Oh, and a fast lap by Claudio, 45.51. So 45.51, Claudio Piazzamusso going swiftest of everybody, and having started on pole position, going quicker than anybody else, you'd expect him to be in the lead, and indeed he is. Colin Davis leads the chasing pack from Christoph Adams. Colin Davis, a rather quiet man. He's not giving me a driver's profile. I don't think it's because he's snubbing me, because he's always very polite and courteous to me, but doesn't court publicity, does Colin Davis. There he goes through in second place in kart 424. 422, Christoph Adams. We've said several times in the weekend, happy birthday, because on Thursday in free practice in this meeting, Christoph Adams had his 41st birthday, and there he is in the Swiss Hubless Racing overalls. Very distinctive, aren't they? All red, but with the white band and the words Swiss Hubless. There he is, kart number 422. Christoph Adams trying to put pressure on Colin Davis. Well, I've said many, many times in commentary, and I do believe it's true, that if there's a good dice for second and third place, the real winner is the leader, because the leader has no pressure on him, and whilst the second and third man are concentrating on themselves, the race leader, and there he is, Claudio Piazzamusso, so long as he keeps his concentration, and Claudio's not setting the fastest lap now, because Christoph Adams at 45.19, as you can see, has gone quicker, so 45.19. It's funny, isn't it, how you're behind somebody, climbing all over them, and yet you can be going quicker than them, but can't get past. It's just one of those little things that may be able to be explained by physics or what have you. But Christoph Adams, in fact, Christoph Adams now getting just a little bit more detached from Colin Davis, it seems to me. Yeah, Colin Davis, I think, perhaps marginally increasing his lead. Jerome Burkhardt is still 4th, Ramon Henning 5th, Dennis Kroes will want to do better than 6th, very amiable Dutchman. Patrick Vasterman 7th, as well as Ramon Henning. Patrick Vasterman has also had a new addition to the family. He's had a son born in this very month. He's running 7th at the moment. Junpei Takayama from Japan is 8th. Franz Kuhl, Daddy Kuhl, from Belgium is 9th, and Manolis Papamichael completes the top 10. There's Colin Davis leading the charge after race leader Claudio Piazzamusso. Mentioned the 10th place driver, Manolis Papamichael. He's supported as well in this series, but he didn't come to Lonato. He had a racing injury, but it wasn't a motor racing injury, it was a horse sports injury. He was doing show jumping and had a fall, and the cup that supports the bar in the show jumps had fallen, and he fell onto that on his ribs, and so had broken ribs. That was Manolis Papamichael, cart number 423. But we're looking here, and yeah, there we are. There is Manolis at the back of the grid. Well, in 10th place. But we're looking at this battle for second. It's a good scrap, isn't it? And see Christoph Adams glance over his right shoulder. When you're doing something like about 90 miles an hour approaching a bend, how can you glance over your shoulder? But this is what the guys do. They're into a racing pace. They are familiar with what's what, and well, Colin Davis, the merest little glance over as well. So he knows that Christoph Adams is there, but you're just having a look at positional placements on the circuit, just a little bit of information for the brain to assimilate. But of course what they both need to assimilate is, where is the former world champion? 424 Colin Davis, 422 Christoph Adams. They are second and third, but 1.5 seconds in front of them down the field is the world champion. There is the fourth place man, Jerome Burkhardt. Jerome Burkhardt is leading Ramon Hennig 5th and Dennis Kroos in 7th place. The differences between these two, well, it's the blink of an eye, isn't it? It was a quarter of a second, but 0.16 a couple of laps ago and 0.13 on the last lap. Well, the message to Colin Davis is Christoph Adams is getting a little bit closer. Jerome Burkhardt, cart number 428, came into this meeting as the joint championship leader with Colin Davis, but because he finished behind Colin Davis in the pre-final, Colin Davis now becomes the championship leader. But these two and Christoph Adams, there's very, very little between them. This is a very, very open championship indeed. Christoph Adams, as you see, has just increased his lead over Jerome Burkhardt to a full second, whereas a couple of laps ago it was only 0.6. But Jerome Burkhardt not making inroads in 4th place into Christoph Adams' 3rd place. Dennis Kroos of Team Kroos races with his girlfriend Marjolein Ansems normally, but Marjolein is here at the A1 Speedworld, but not racing this time, so she's putting all her efforts into supporting Dennis. Dennis has had some up and down times in the Rotax Euro Challenge, most notably when he was thrown out of his kart at Braga, Portugal, taken to hospital in Braga, and a couple of hours later came back onto the circuit saying, hey, I want to take my place in the final. Kart number 416, we're having a look now. Kart 416 is Dennis Kroos. They breed them tough in Holland, they breed them tough in the karting world altogether. Dennis Kroos' lead over Patrick Vasterman, well, marginal but increasing. And there's the two new Daddy's statistics being shown. Not Daddy's statistics, but time statistics. Patrick Vasterman and Ramon Hennig. Kart number 419, Patrick Vasterman driving for VZ Racing. And the red kart tech team, Patrick Vasterman, kart number 419. Winner of the Winter Cup Chrono Series in Holland. And he's been karting since last year. So somebody else at the age of 33 who didn't take up karting till late, Patrick Vasterman. He was past 30 before he thought about karting. In the meantime, Colin Davis is thinking about Christoph Adams behind him, and Christoph Adams is thinking about trying to pass Colin Davis in front of him. Maintaining his concentration all on his own in the front, Claudio Piazza-Musso. Claudio coming up to the half race distance, and Claudio Piazza-Musso's lead on the field is 1.8 seconds. So a good effort by the South African with the very Italian name. His father Giovanni.